Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Frivolity. This is the after party show for Monday. Where are we here? July 10th, middle of the summer. Chris is heading off to hang out in Chicago tomorrow. Good for you, Chris. I flaked out. What a flake that Beamish guy is. Anyway, I think as I had sort of said there earlier, hip deep in a whole bunch of TRI stuff right now. So suppose we got to get our shit together and make sure everything's taken care of. Just FYI, and I do see Rush is part of the room here. I don't know whether we should share this on the site. I'm not quite sure, but I've made reference to it, and Rush was very interested in it. Thinking about doing sort of a live boot camp session over in Europe this late summer, early fall, maybe. Rush said that he would quarterback this. Way to go, Rush. You're so awesome. I don't know. Just let us know if you are interested to do something in person. I know we had a couple people that expressed interest in participating. I don't even really know where we would do this. I think there are, Chris is planning on heading back over to the islands in the Mediterranean this fall, hang out with Andrea. And there was talk of maybe doing it in Mallorca. But anyway, if you are interested, if this does, I'll sort of continually mention this to you guys. Reach out and let us know. And really all this will be is I'm just going to go through step by step and, over a week or two period that we do this, just get you to the point where you are going through the logic of how to set up all your different trading plans off of one sheet. And then what sort of your daily routine, what markets are you most interested in? What are your setups? And, can you sort of get yourself into a routine? And sometimes routine, you wake up and you're like, okay, well, I've got this job to do today, so I won't be day trading. So, today's routine is not really considering anything day trading. But anyway, I will mention it over the next few months. If there is interest, we probably need this to be maybe a good, at least I would say, to make it worthwhile, at least a dozen people. So I'm not quite sure how we would go about doing this. Maybe what you could do, Rush, is even put like a little table up top here. And maybe we can have like 12 slots or something like that. And if we actually fill those 12 slots, maybe we can just put like first name dash last name initial or something, so it doesn't have to be too personal. And then if we do fill up those 12 slots, then I'll hop on an airplane and away we go. We'll have some fun. All right, cool. So Rush says, yep, he's working on it right now. So it's the middle of July. We maybe shoot to do this in like, I don't know, late September, early October or something like that. That's a few months. September is usually a pretty good weather month too. When I was over in Portugal there a year or two ago, the big thing is I had to be back for Liam's birthday on the September 26th. Maybe what we do is we plan to do it following Liam's birthday, maybe in like October or something like that. And it should be less touristy and a little bit more quiet, and we can just concentrate on trading and education and stuff in the time, not necessarily touristy stuff. So anyway, I probably will make reference to this on a regular basis. And like I said, as soon as we get 12 people that are interested, then away we go. As well too, I should be making a regular reference to it. I'm not quite sure how we do this. And Zach, if you're watching this video later on, Zach is, of course, in the middle of doing his level 4 program that he started up here as sort of a dovetail to the current options education in the level 3. And to justify those programs, again, probably need a good dozen people or so. And I think we're up to about 4 or 5 that have expressed direct interest in participating in the fall program. So if anything, we need to, and actually maybe this should even be renamed TRI Bootcamp or something, not necessarily TRI Campus. Rush, but Zach, if you are watching this later on, it would probably be a good idea that we have like a 1-pager that sort of summarizes the level 4 program, and I show that on a regular basis. And I will be sending emails and stuff out to TRI school alum, those people that have completed the education program. I think the feedback that we're getting from Zach's program is pretty positive. I think it's probably pretty good value, money spent, considering it's 12 weeks and it's only like $1,500 or something. It's basically like $100 a week, which is ridiculous in this crazy world. So look forward to that as well down the pike. And of course, Zach, if you are, hey, there you go. So you can see Rush is already working away. So Zach, if you are watching this later on, I wouldn't mind splashing a 1-pager about your education program on these daily briefs as well. So look forward to that down the pike. As I had said in the public broadcast, I like what I'm seeing with regard to first 2-week study. It does make sense if we have been seeing recently, especially off of things like the dashboard. Although I'm not quite sure which page is here. If we go to, actually, this isn't a bad place to start. Who are the sectors that are outperforming? Basic materials, energy, then a couple country funds. And then the real estate fund. Now, the real estate fund, that's a little bit of a head scratcher. But energy and basic materials, if they are outperforming, that's going to be, I'm going to put this away for now. And where am I? Okay. Right, basic material energies, and we did see the industrials were up there recently on the leaderboard as well. So it looks like fund managers are really warming to the idea that money should be pouring into this part of the market, and if that's the case, then we probably should see a little bit of a pause of money going into tech and communication services and stuff. Which we're kind of seeing. I mean, this is the first 2 weeks. We are sort of in that sort of first official week back from that holiday shortened trading week last week. So not really a big surprise to see this kind of screen here today. Now, does this look like this by the end of the week? I suppose the inflation number being printed on Wednesday that I made reference to there in the free show a few minutes ago, that's clearly going to have a huge impact on sort of thinking going forward. I mean, it's your guess is as good as mine, all this inflation data, but this will definitely be our driver. My hunch is the inflation numbers are going to slowly tick their way down. It's going to be ebb and flowy. It's interesting, actually, how you're seeing now the headline number coming in 3-4%. Food and energy prices are calming down a bit. Wheat prices have come off. Natural gas prices are off, etc. But the core inflation number is still persistently strong here. But as you can see, even the previous forecast, 5.3, they're looking for a number around 5%. Then this number, it's got to get back down to like 2-3%, because like these guys have said repeatedly, this economy doesn't work when these kind of inflation numbers are this high. The whole damn thing falls apart. interesting. There is your core inflation numbers. There was the sickness, and of course they were all freaking out. Give them all the free money, give them all the free money. So the Fed got what it wanted. And I remember it was like, we're going to fire a bazooka in here and all that kind of stuff. So they were basically able to kill any bearish sentiment. And this right here is the US government and the Bidens and, at that point, I think the Democrats had complete control of the US government, and they passed through just a ridiculous amount of spending. And same thing with substitute drama teachers in my country. I mean, spending that just doesn't make sense unless you are purposely trying to completely undermine the capitalist system and create some sort of socialist communist utopia, where the currency is worthless, everybody lives in hyperinflation, everybody's poor, but the 1% who actually own most of the assets, they're all laughing. And that's the world that we've been living in here since what did they call it? I can't even. Darn. Anyway, there was a name that Biden gave his socialist program in here. And the interesting thing is the Fed is, of course, cranking short-term interest rates up, trying to offset that massive government spending. I mean, in essence, the federal government's basically like a drunken whore right now, spending money like crazy. It's probably one of the reasons why a lot of sort of the brick and mortar kind of parts of our society are actually doing okay now. And if anything, probably going to see more sort of firmness in I think this image that we showed you here, the Russell 2000, I think this is a perfect analogy of that all of these sort of smaller companies, infrastructure, regional banks, all that kind of stuff, they're probably going to do better in this kind of environment, because just the government contracts are just over the top insane. Does that cause the Fed to continue the need to raise interest rates? I think so. So I don't think that the interest rate increases and stuff are done by a long shot. And if anything, kind of like what I was saying with that public commentary about the inflation numbers, I actually think we probably have to get our way back down. And I suppose I'll show this to you just for the record. This, I think, is my favorite website to be going to these days. I constantly come back to this. As we sort of pointed out, by 1944, which will probably correspond to 2024, which is basically next year, they will have worked the inflation numbers back down. I actually even had interesting right into my birthday. This will be the absolute best inflation print. Sell in May and walk away kind of idea, maybe. That actually probably would be a good sort of trade window for bonds, because the bonds are probably going to work their way up, the bond prices. In fact, I think you even saw that this morning. Yeah, the bonds are all really enjoying themselves here. And I think I remember Hugh Hendry. He was kind of like, the only thing I want to buy right now are US Treasury bonds, which is kind of funny, of all things. Anyway, there is the bond ETF. Let's see what it looks like. I don't know, Hugh. Actually, Megan, you've been at TRI a while now. What do you think looking at that chart? Is that the kind of chart that we want to get uber bullish about? Actually, anybody, what is it? Hey, we got 8 people over there on the public or on the YouTube channel. What is this? Do nervous. All right. Is that the kind of market? Are those W's or are those M's? Interesting how, based on Hugh's comments, I was painting upside chaos objectives, but it looks like we just went through this low. So see you later. That's not on the table anymore. Boosh, gone. So I don't know. I do like Hugh's approach. I think on balance, he has the right idea. I do think that actually, in a weird sort of way, I think Hugh's very much like Brian. He's usually right, but I think he's also usually early. And I have seen in the past, like a year or two, maybe 3 years ago, he was going on and on and on about all the dangers in the US banking system and how there was going to be problems down the road. And, we're seeing those problems now. And maybe a few months ago there when those banks were all blowing up. So I like Hugh's thinking, but that looks very M-y to me here in the short term, eh? One M there, there's another M there, there's another M there, and this is a big M that just confirmed. Looks like the market tried to W, got up, and then boom, somebody just bitch slapped it hard here. So also too, if we are thinking sector rotation, early recovery, full recovery, market top, bull market, that's not going to be friendly for bonds. They're not going to be happy with that kind of stuff. So, if we are in this, I can understand that we're in this window here for like July, August, September. And then like September, October, November, oh boy, we're going to be getting just all messy in here. So if anything, maybe think of the bond market as the exact opposite image to this. So, through September, July, August, September kind of idea, the bonds work their way down. And then probably somewhere like here to here to here. This is where the stock market eventually breaks and starts rolling over and correcting. And then that's where the bonds actually start getting happier. So something along those lines. Maybe even push this out a bit, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Something along those lines. So, interesting direct application of this information we're trying to teach you guys. Interesting how when you do the Feigenbaum off of this M, notice that 2.618 lines up almost perfectly with that monstrous gap on the price charts. Actually a bit surprised Mr. Hendry, maybe he looks more at like weekly price charts and doesn't pay attention to these daily charts. But goodness gracious, that is an awfully big hole on the price charts there. And interesting how that lines up almost perfectly with 2.618s. So I guess we're not that far away. If anything, there's an old rule in the bonds that you don't really ever want to buy bonds above 100 because the bond by definition is going to mature at par. Par is 100. So if you made it just a practice that you are going to invest in bonds and you will only buy bonds when they are below $100, then by definition, now this is an ETF, so it doesn't quite work the same, but if you went and actually just went and priced bonds in the marketplace, and you just made it a policy that I'm only going to buy bonds that are below $100. By definition, you are building in a capital gain into all bond purchases. Because if I force myself to go and buy this bond at $90, 92, whatever, and we know that the bonds mature at 100, well, then that technically is a capital gain. And it probably shouldn't surprise us. Like, notice, look how important that 100 level there is for this bond market. So clearly there's a lot of people that play this game. And, this was a bit of a gift because in essence, if you buy here, you know that the bonds are going to mature at par. And notice once they get up top here, well, now we're getting nosebleedy because, these things are supposed to mature at par 100. So they end up just gravitating back to this 100 level. That's the way the bond market is supposed to operate. So this is why, this is such a good lesson. This is the way the bond market is supposed to operate. So it clearly shows that when the bond market was up here at 170, 180, whatever dollars through that silly Jupiter Saturn cross, the banksters themselves, Janet Yellen is culpable here. She has a fiduciary responsibility, although I don't think anybody's ever going to hold her to that, but she really does. This is kind of like the same conversation with Alan when Dogecoin was like 75 cents and he goes on Saturday Night Live and he doesn't even mention Dogecoin or the price of it. And the fact that if you had bought that at that level, you were a fucking idiot. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. But doesn't he have some sort of fiduciary responsibility in our society, one human, looking out for another, to say, well, you know what, probably investing in these things here is not such a good idea. And, I mean, well, you all know how that stupid Doge story goes. I mean, I tell you, it's this kind of stuff that really makes me lose faith in capitalism because this guy's an asshole. I mean, for lack of a better term, there's no other way to describe it. That should have been criminal. Then, at the very least, he should have said to the public, look, here I am on Saturday Night Live, and you guys all think I'm awesome and great, but don't go and buy this Dogecoin. This is just asking for trouble. And no one says fucking boo. And the capitalist machine just grinds on. I hate to say it, but the exact same damn thing happened in the bond market. Exactly the same. And the worst part about it is that the regional banks, trusting Janet Yellen to basically do the right thing, fiduciary responsibility, Janet Yellen was telling these banksters and the public and everybody, invest, buy US treasuries, buy US treasuries. What a stupid investment decision. Do you guys see how dumb that was? I mean, this is why the, Silicon Valley banks and what was the other one? Nobody even talks about that one anymore. What was the one that went under before? I want to say it started with an R or something like that. Anyway, so she was coming out publicly and saying, invest, buy US treasuries. And that was just the dumbest idea possible. I'd also say too, this is actually a really good lesson, like technical lesson in the alt ABCD concept. No, Credit Suisse is something totally different. So notice how we like literally stopped on a dime right on 1.618. I think this is going to become my favorite harmonic pattern to hunt setups because I notice whenever you get these AB equals CDs and we do go to 1.618, you almost always get just an absolute gift of a trade there at that 1.618 level. Anyway, so I don't mind Mr. Hendry's thinking. I think he's actually right. I just think kind of like Brian, if we're looking at this in this sort of very short term, I actually think that he's probably, he probably was a buyer down here at this 1.618 kind of level. He probably was a buyer on this double bottom kind of idea. And he probably would say, I'll be more than happy to buy. In fact, I mean, who can read my mind? If I take a fib off of this high, back down to this low, who can read my mind? What am I thinking here? And it should line up perfectly with all this stuff. Meg, what am I thinking here? You should be able to read my mind here. You're pretty good at this stuff. Maybe you got yeah. Oh, there you go, Eddie. Eddie did it for you. So, oh, what a shock! Brian's favorite fib is sitting right in the middle of that goddamn hole. I mean, this stuff just writes itself. It's absolutely incredible how cliche this all is, eh? So I don't know whether, I mean, yes, in the short term, you've got the bonds moving up, but is this maybe a trap? Are they like, are they bidding this thing up to get its butt kicked here on Wednesday's inflation number release? Maybe. Anyway, we haven't looked at bonds in a while, so if anything, that was probably a productive use of our time. And if anything, I would just say, if you are interested in the bond market, you throw your stink bids down here, probably at this 2.618 level, and you might get an absolute gift. Should be interesting to see whether the Canadian bond market looks the same as that. So here's the Canadian bonds. This is the 10-year government bond. I don't know, Meg, you're a Canadian. What do you think? Should we step in and buy a market that looks like this? This looks a bit dangerous. I don't know. Have you seen the rhetoric going on about the Canadian real estate market now? Oh, wait, it's at a fevered pitch right now. Anyway, actually, this is probably like log. Oh, no, it's regular. Okay, so let's go. What do we want to do here? Reverse this. So, boom. So still got some unfinished business down here. I don't like the way that these gaps are still not filled in. So maybe what's happening here is we just have a bit of a relief rally. This could also be a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. So we could go boo to boo to boo to boo. So we probably wanted to see some sort of pivot low down against this low here. And that low there. So, does that head and shoulders fire? If it does, then probably there to there. And clone that there to there. Oh, what a surprise. That will take us right down into 88.6s and basically fill that gap in. This also probably is a good lesson as well. That's a V bottom. So by definition, V bottom should be tested. So this, whatever, if and when this happens, this will be that formal test of that low. And probably also too, we have to wait for this trend line to be broken. Yeah, interesting how that's the low there. So now you have 1, 2, 3. We rally up here, then roll over. If we get any kind of market structure failure on the other side of this trend line, that will set up the trade. So it probably will look something like there to there to there to there to there to there to there. So it's going to take a while for this to develop. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do something like that. I'll keep that on the screen going forward, and let's see how we do. So that's probably your next crisis. Now, how long does that take to develop? You can see this is basically going to take us through the summer and then heading into the fall and that September, October window. That would actually align nicely with a nice stock market crash correction, September. The dump, of course, and I spent the time in the public broadcast. When do we want to buy our Bitcoins? Is this a good place to be investing in Bitcoin? I don't think it is. Can we get some sort of calamity in the market that really has nothing to do with Bitcoin to bring prices down into these windows? And my hunch is something like the bond market collapses. Everybody's freaking out. Economy goes into a tailspin. The Fed has broken the system, and what would happen here is the interest rates will go up first. So the interest rates go up, boom. And I don't know how fast this is, but let's say somewhere in September. And actually, this might even happen a little bit quicker. But the break in the market happens. I mean, maybe it looks like something like that. I don't know. But the break in interest rates happens, which causes the break in the stock market. TD Bank's the most heavily shorted stock in the world. Maybe the Canadian banks actually start falling apart in earnest, and the whole fugazi of this Canadian real estate market finally corrects. And then at this point over here, September, October, November, the feds come in and start saying, okay, we've broken the market. We can actually start now thinking about lowering interest rates, and the bond market starts taking off on the other side of whatever that break in the economy is. Does that make sense what I just said, or did I just totally talk in circles? Chris, did that make sense what I just said there? Okay, well, anyway, Chris is giving me a thumbs up. Rush, did that make sense to you, what I just said? Rush is a good sort of layman. All right, so anyway, point of the matter here is, I don't think this is a very good place to be investing in bonds, and I don't think it's a very good place to be investing in Bitcoins. And I certainly don't think it's a very good place to be investing in the stock market. So that's the worst part about all this, is that sometimes you get these windows, and the middle of the summer, this makes perfect sense. Do you think there's a lot of kids sitting in mom's basement that are going to be quote unquote going in and investing in the market here over the next couple months, getting all sucked into the silly season of the summer? It wouldn't surprise me. And then they're going to set them up for some sort of big face plant here through the fall. Would not surprise me one bit. So anyway, there is your backdrop. Party, party. So we're probably going to do a bit of drifting here until we actually get into Wednesday. It's interesting how the US dollar is just getting bitch slapped here. And I think it's on sort of the premise that, the world economy is relatively okay. As I had said there earlier, it was interesting to see that the Chinese inflation problem seems to be abating. Now, the question here is, on Wednesday, do we have some sort of big ugly number that comes out of the States? And then the Fed says, I told you, we still have to keep raising interest rates. And this thing cranks back up to the upside. Either or could happen, no problem. I think you could, from a simple trend line perspective, I think you could just simply say that as soon as we lost this trend line, 1, 2, 3 tags, kind of any kind of bearish pattern on the other side of this trend line. So, we can just draw a circle around this. Do we see any kind of M off a lower time frame charts develop through that circle? There is the circle. Can you get any sort of justification? There is that trend line. No M, back above. No, dipped again, no M, back above, dipped again, no M, back above. Uh-oh, oh shit, there it is. Can you guys see that? This is a really good lesson. Jesus, Brian's full of a whole bunch of cool lessons here today. So if you were going to be trading the US dollar index, there is the M on the other side of the trend line, which set up that trade there. And man, would that have been a profitable trade? Ain't just straight line, boom. So I think that was your trade there, if there was going to be a trade. And that was off of this, and actually we probably should crisp this up a little bit for your demonstration here. Oh, come on, you. Oh, I was there. There we go. So something along those lines, right? So actually even better when you do that, eh? Holy moly, look how crisp that looks. So back to the trend line, 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 lost the trend line, but there's no M on the other side. Probably a lot of noobs got suckered into shorting that. They went after them and blew all those poor suckers out. Then back to the trend line. Then, oh, here comes the failures below. In fact, actually, I think you could even make the argument that actually that high looks a little bit higher. Anyway, somewhere in this area, maybe that low is probably the best. And I mean, gee whiz, if we had just like an algo that fired that trade there and just like, what is this, 30-minute? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles. You make like a year's production in 7 30-minute bars. What is that? That's like 3.5 hours. Bang! It's Lambo time. So I don't know. Is it worth your while getting sharp at trading market structure signals on the other sides of trend lines? I reckon so. Interesting too. Notice if we these trend lines obviously were drawn off a higher time frame. But if we crisp this up right there, and then there, because the high is lower than that high, and then fail. Look at that fail right there, right? Ooh wee, what a signal. Holy moly, this is actually pretty productive. So the point of the matter here is what once was resistance, notice they broke through again. Look at that demonstration, no W. Then finally they were able to break through it. But what I would say is what once was resistance now should be support, which means that if we play connect the dots too, God, this is such a good tutorial. So if we play connect the dots off of this trend line here to here, yeah, like so. My hunch is actually we're going to bottom where these two trend lines intersect, which looks like right about there. It's not a bad forecast. So what once was resistance will now become support, which means we probably have a date with down in here. And that kind of makes sense too. Monday, Tuesday, this market's probably going to move down. And then we're going to get that inflation report Tuesday, or excuse me, Wednesday the 12th. And notice, look at that, Wednesday the 12th. Do you think that's an accident? I don't. So what a good lesson there. Gee whiz. Fascinating, eh? Almost makes you want to build a trendline trading plan. So DXY looks like it's heading lower. I think that's pretty straightforward. And, you know, considering the catalyst for the next big sort of news release is Wednesday, I don't think you're going to see a heck of a lot of change here between now and Wednesday. Guess the question would be A to B. Is this going to be some sort of harmonic, C to D? And actually, this is probably also a good lesson in confluence. So I did this, yeah, so look at that. What a coincidence. Remarkable how this stuff all sort of starts lining up over time, eh? It's interesting that they did take this high out just briefly. What a beautiful FU move, eh? Is Larry Fink in this market as well? Probably. And I don't really have that really pretty a market structure. Like I said, the only market structure is really this right here. So is this what we do our fog and bombs off of? Go to there to there. And then chaos. And oh, look at that. There's another. And actually, this is kind of cool. Because notice the first stop, look at 2.618. Look how the market just stabs straight down into that level and then jackknife right back up to the original breakdown point. I've told you guys this before. What I often see happens with these, you know, like, so you're going to get a market structure signal that looks like that. So then you can start drawing your fog and bombs. So something like that. And what you should expect is the market will tag 2.618. Then either one of two things will happen. Either one, the market will respect 2.618. And if that's the case, what we probably will do is rally back and actually test the original structural level. Or the market will just blow right through 2.618 and head straight to 4.669. Of which we'll have the same conversation. Do we respect 4669 or do we just blow right through the level? If we respect 4669, then we usually come back and test 2.618 from the other side. And similarly, I'm running out of colors here. But if we don't respect 4.669, we can sometimes just blow all the way down to 877. And then same sort of thing. Do we have a counter trend rally back up to 4669? That's usually how I find this stuff works. So here's a good example where we tagged 2.618 and we had to like literally straight line right back up. Notice, look how this candle here literally rallied right into that level and then it failed. Like, why did it fail right there? Well, I think that's what this was here. Maybe we'll make that blue. That's kind of cool, eh? So we rallied up, and then in this particular case, right, we rallied up, back test the original breakdown, and then just face planted straight down into 4669. That's what this is. And notice, if anything, you can judge how strong or weak a market is if this thing can get back to 2.618. In this case, it couldn't. Interesting how it did put in higher highs and tried to sort of sucker everybody into thinking it was a bull. A little fly flying around my face here. But, we basically dumped into 4669. We couldn't even get back to 2.618 here. But we rallied up, and in this case kind of did something like that. And then my hunch here is we've now lost this level. So, down into 877s. And what a surprise, there is your 877, which just so happens to line up with our confluence of trend lines. So talk about a level, eh? And does it make sense that this would now start becoming like a rational idea? Why do I say that? I don't think that they've killed the inflation bugaboo. And I wouldn't even be surprised if this is sort of like one of these like sell on the rumor, buy on the news. So they're driving the market down into this event. Everybody's sort of talking, well, we're going to wait till the inflation numbers on Wednesday. So it almost becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, everything else. And keep in mind, you don't really want to be trading this US dollar index. What you really want to be doing is using the US dollar index. This is pointing down. So while we're seeing this thing pointing down and heading for targets, then what I really want to be doing is hunting all of the derivatives. And hopefully you can see that when this thing topped out, things like the euro actually put in a bottom. And that's actually your trading vehicle. So you sort of discern the message from the tea leaves of what the US dollar index is doing. And then you hunt your individual currencies for trade ideas. And you can see this thing's working its way up into that 2.618. If you had seen this W, and then of course we have a nice little, and actually this would be an interesting trivia question. Let's see if anybody can get this. I'll make it nice and easy for you. If I go like there to there, and then I go there, who can think what I'm thinking here? And then if you can't do this after I do this, then really I failed as a teacher. Who can tell me what that is? There's your answer. It's pretty straightforward. Good. All right. Excellent. Good. Yeah. Well, you guys are learning. Good job. So, there's your trade, right? And you go, well, this is a cup and handle. And I mean, you look at this on balance, it sure looks to me like this worked out to be remember we had said that US dollar index just came screaming down in like 6 hours, right? That's what this is. You know what this is? That's what this is. That's what this. You know what? How does that go again? You know what this is? I'll tell you what this is. That's what this is. Wow, look how slow the trading view is. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I must have done something wrong. Wow, look at this. It's totally frozen. Hey, look at that. Finally. Oh, thank you so much, TradingView. Anyway, so there you go. All right, and there's your profit objective up in there. Probably also done like Foggin bombs off of this range. Oh, look at that. 4669. Doink. So anyway, Chris had said earlier that, hey, Mondays, maybe let's take a look at the US dollar index. So that's what our exercise is here. And hopefully that little rant there gives you an idea what I'm thinking about. So once we get to this point here, confluence of trend lines, you might even call this a descending wedge. Who can tell me Who can finish this statement? Descending wedges are inherently what? Actually, that goes back quite a ways. It's not a bad descending wedge. Descending wedges are inherently what? Thank you, Adam. Bullish. So if we do come down 1, 2, 3, test in here, and you do actually start to see some bullish price action in here, I think that's actually a hell of a trade location. So keep that in mind in your market sort of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Expectations going forward. So, in this kind of environment, and actually this should be a good question for you all. Generally speaking, when the US dollar index is falling like this, what should that be about risk assets? What should risk assets generally be doing? Bullish. Very good, Eddie. So we should see things like stocks catching a bid. We should see crypto even catching a bid. We should see commodities catching a bid. So I don't know. Let's go and see whether any of that's panning out. Commodity prices in general. Well, this probably isn't the best chart to look at. But commodity prices in general, oh, we got the stocks ticking back up here. The Dow is actually enjoying itself. Interesting how we had that commentary about the Japanese stock market earlier today. Be interesting to see whether the US market finishes on a positive note. But you got the Dow up a good 167 points. So I think that makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised to see gold and oil actually turn back up here. And you can see gold's only down 70 cents now. I think gold, oh, geez. I mean, if we have that scenario of US dollar weak over the next couple of days, can you see how gold could pop up here nicely? It's not a buy just yet, but 3-bar fractal, if we go through this high here on the gold, that is 1941.10. I think you got a pretty good shot that this thing's going to pop a bit higher. And we could probably do Bombs and rally back into these resistance levels. Seems completely normal. Then, of course, if this thing gets a head of steam behind it, reload zones, 4.669 sitting right up at 786s. If you were thinking about wanting to get short or sell some gold or whatever, I think that's up in this area here. So don't know whether I really like the idea of shorting gold here, especially with the US dollar looking the way it is. Now on Wednesday, if we find that the dollar does come back and this thing's perked up and we've rallied maybe up into the 30 SMA and we start showing signs of rolling over, then I could maybe entertain the idea of joining this downtrend. It's not really the best trade location for a guy like me. I would, gold usually likes to pivot sometime the middle of August. So if we go to equity clock, actually, I thought it was really interesting. I watched a video over the weekend where somebody was using these seasonality studies on things like non-farm payrolls, which I thought was fascinating. But anyway, the sectors, this is, sort of how I would historically use this information. But as I had said, I was quite surprised. Yeah, economic data. So people actually are starting to use things like seasonality and stuff on things like the employment data, which I thought was fascinating. It's interesting. Commercial banking seasonality. There's a bit of an odd data set, eh? I'm not quite sure how we'd use that. Anyway, so kind of off on a tangent there. But if we look at the gold market, there's gold. You can see gold usually likes the bottom the very end of July. So I I'm wondering whether maybe this is a little bit of a trap here. This, we're July 10th, maybe over the next month or something, this comes in here. I suppose, give this a week or two, and then you get your double bottom breakout. I guess I could subscribe to that newsletter. So, and actually I was even mentioning it yesterday. The names that we really want to keep an eye on here are some of the big gold stocks, so like gold itself. Where is it? Barrick changed its symbol to gold. All right, so you can see the W trying to form there. If that W does form, then away we go. I don't know whether it's a good idea to front run this, though. I think you might have your head handed to you. Newmont, another big gold stock. Yeah, well, and actually this looks even better. You can see where we had, I guess, some sort of buy signal there. Oh yeah, it's still working away. That was off of Mountain Man level, it looks like right there. And actually this, David probably would like this. We should probably mention this if David is around tomorrow, although I think he said he was taking July off. This kind of looks like one of these Adam and Eve kind of setups. So initial dump V bottom, that's your Adam. And then is this Eve, Steve, whatever you want to call it. I actually think I would prefer, Brian's favorite fib. I would prefer that this actually came in a little bit lower. So we'll see how this goes. I wouldn't fault somebody if they said, well, Brian, I'm a gold bug. So if this W does fire, I'm going to take a risk. Oh, come on, you. Man, TradingView is so slow. I think I got to maybe update the browser or something. I can't believe how slow this is. I wouldn't fault you if you said, look at Brian, if that W comes in, I got to take a shot. But just understand, it's okay, Mountain Man. It's not the best trade location. And could there, keep in mind, this M is actually technically working here. And also this M as well. So it's iffy. It's not like slam dunky. It's iffy. What is interesting about this chart is when this thing does actually get its act together, if we go back and look at how this thing acted historically, and under our sort of premise that we're just repeating the 1980 bull, I mean, look at what happened. So there's the late 70s, there's 80. Are we doing this right now? Sort of 81, 82, 83. And look at what it did into that 87 blow off top there. And I mean, like literally, that was the bull market. I mean, price barely got back to that here in 2022. So all of your gains were just basically in that, 3 or 4 year window. So if you're a gold bug, this 3 or 4 year window here, this is your window. I would pay damn close attention. Anyway, only time will tell. And of course, if this sort of plays out and, the banksters just add a 0 onto the end of this, what does this actually imply as upside objectives? Holy bejesus. Look at that. Anybody want to get rich in the gold stocks? Where's that Michael guy? Hey, there you are. You're over on YouTube, right? You should look at this chart and be like, oh my fucking God. This is the kind of chart that what's the guy he's and I don't know how you describe this now. Because if you say Asian, that's actually not very accurate because a typical Chinese person does not look anything at all like a typical Indian person, yet they're both Asian. So you can't say, well, I'm thinking of a person that looks, and what you used to say a million years ago when I was a kid was Oriental. That was sort of the word that you used to describe somebody of Orient descent. But I don't know what term do you use to, because I don't think the guy's last name I think is like Kawasaki or something like that, which I think is Japanese. So you don't want to call him a Chinese. That would be even a bigger insult, wouldn't it? I would call him Satoshi. So anyway, I don't know what the guy's name is. I think he did he's always going on about, oh, I want to buy silver. I want to buy silver. I think he did the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad or something like that. I think that's what made him famous. Robert no, how do you say that? Kiyosaki? Is that how you pronounce that? Kiyosaki? But I guess the question ultimately here, let's see, if I see his face, then I'll know. Yeah, that's this guy. Yeah, right. So I mean, you guys help me because I'm terribly incorrect. If I was to say, do you call him Asian? Is that the best way to describe him? Do you call him Oriental? Is that like an insult? Hey, Josh says he's from Hawaii, so he's not even that. He's an American. So, and actually, that would make more sense. That would definitely make sense. He's Canadian. That's what a typical Canadian looks like these days, right? Well, now Brian's just getting himself into trouble. So I don't know how you describe this guy, but anyway, there he is. He's a houseplant, right? So what I'm trying to say, and it was trying to be humorous, but obviously it didn't go over very well. But he should look at a chart like this, and this should make him like literally what soil himself in a pleasurable way. Is that how you describe it? I'm not quite sure. That's one hell of an image, eh? Because I know he's quite a bull. Land of aloha and spam. Yeah, from what I understand, standard of living for a typical Hawaiian native these days is not good at all, which is so sad. Anyway. Actually, it's interesting. What was it I saw? There's actually dogs that they breed who are actually bred to hunt pigs. I can't remember which one it was, but I can't remember. Anyway, I know there are a lot of wild pigs in Hawaii as well. Okay, so, and the interesting thing, of course, is coming full circle. If we're expecting this, Klaus and his great reset bullshit nonsense, right? That would actually perfectly align with this. Perfectly align with that. Just on a side note, I don't know if there's any value in it or not, but I don't know what would be the best gold name. I know there was one gold name and they had just absolutely insanely bullish report that they put out about 6-8 months ago, like 65 grams per ton, just huge number. And that was this thing here, this DPM. So it might be interesting to circle around, the sort of the euphoria of the initial pump has played out. And actually interesting how they've just taken this thing right back up to the top again. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the majors actually just comes along and buys this thing out. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. But we kind of talked about this before, but what kind of pattern does that look like? And actually, for whatever it's worth, a lot of CanSlim stocks, they also have this price pattern. You guys heard me talking about this pattern before? And yes. Anyway, there it is. So, clearly this guy's, and actually, interestingly enough, I think actually there's an even bigger one here. We can go there to there to there. So that's interesting. That's a cup and a handle within a cup and a handle. And, given our conversations about inflation expectations, given our conversations about Newmont, given our conversations about, Klaus and the Great Reset and all that nonsense, I don't think it should surprise us to see something along these lines. And probably also too, the trendline trader. That would actually be a good name for a newsletter, the Trendline Trader. Something along those lines. So breakout, head fake. Can I get a W on the other side of this trend line? It's been awfully messy, but it kind of looks to me messy. But anyway, it kind of looks to me like there's your W there. This one's a bit tricky. Maybe I have to wait for the big breakout. I don't know. Anyway, so I keep an eye on gold stocks, and gold stocks sure look interesting here. And as I had said before, I guess the question ultimately is are you a gold bug? Are you a Bitcoin bug? We know that Bitcoin's coming into its window here where it should turn. We do know about halving events and what should happen here in this window. Halving event starts basically in here, and we know that the bull market should go on to something like there. So in that window, kind of the same thing as the Newmont. What do you think? Do you guys get the impression the market's trying to speak to us here? I may think so, although, God, look how long this takes. So long. So I think we get a lot of anecdotal evidence. The interesting thing is this happens so quickly here. Maybe we better go back to a monthly chart. Anyway, I'm wasting time here. So point being that, Mr. BlackRock Capital, that Fink guy, basically came out and said, well, Bitcoin's digital gold. And more importantly, what I heard was he explicitly said, if we go back to the tweet, and you don't hear big money managers and stuff say this because he is basically telling us the future here, folks. You don't hear people talk like this every day. The guy, especially the amount of money this guy manages. He is telling us the future. The question is, are you going to listen to what he has to say? I mean, he's an asshole, and of course, he owns everybody, right? And blah, 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 and all that. But he's basically said here that, the digitalized gold. So obviously gold's probably going to move up, right? Interesting, instead of investing in gold. But especially from an international perspective, it's probably a hell of a lot easier to buy a big whack of Bitcoins than it is. And there's the big narrative right there. All right, let's back that up just so you can see it. You can make the argument that here we are in 2023, and he is telling you, right? Problems in any one country or the devaluation of, what is that?
Let's be clear, Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency. And so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative. I would call it, the foundation of BlackRock is about hope.
Fuck you. It's about greed, you cocksucker. It's about hope. Give me a break. What a loser.
Because you believe tomorrow is better than today.
Anyway, so he's basically said, get ready for currency devaluations. They are coming. And of course, broken record. Brian keeps saying the same damn things over and over and over. I mean, we know what's coming. So. Anyway, pick your poison. You want to get long a whole shitload of gold, or Newmont mining gold call options, or you want to play it through Bitcoin, digital gold. I mean, you know how this story is going to play out. So just get ready. If anything, what we say, get your fucking shit together, right? You gotta get your shit together. It's happening as we speak. All right, blah blah blah. Let's in the short term, thinking about the summer, do we have any new signals or anything that have popped up here on the screener? Because today's Monday, and I like on Mondays to sort of review screener signals, any sort of messages that we're getting from the market. We've still, and maybe although Stuart doesn't like us to talk about it in his Tuesday shows, but we do need to figure out some way to get this data looking correct, because I don't want to have to be seeing this erroneous data here now indefinitely and waiting like 6 months for it to get off the screen. So we got to figure some way to fix that. Somebody, Stuart, you're probably watching this video after the fact. We got to figure out some way to get this data correct so that it doesn't look like this, because it's across the whole damn spectrum. The engine fucked up. There's no sense in, naming names, blaming blame, but the engine fucked up and everything was printing 100%. We can't leave this like this. It's got to be fixed. So I don't know how we fix this, but I'd be very disappointed if this is just left like this. Also, too, I kind of noticed it almost looks to me like maybe we have like a bit of a brain fart here in the short term now, because notice that, especially if I zoom over the past couple of days, notice, look how the commodities, everything went 100% uber bear there. Let's see if I can show you right there. 100%, 100%. I don't know whether that's correct or not. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Something's just not right here, right? I mean, this should not go to 0 like this, and this should not go to 100 like this. There's something just not right about this. So I gotta somehow figure this out. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna do this, but we gotta figure it out. Yeah, so actually this is good. So notice, we had 13 issues, and then notice this day here, we only had 1 print. So there's our problem. So Stuart, if you're watching this afterward, and we've got to somehow figure out a script that, number one, identifies that we only had like 1 counted that day. And it's going to have to somehow go in and fix this problem. It's a little disappointing, but I suppose, nothing's a straight line. Never been closer, all that kind of talk. But we have to, especially, I mean, I don't mind if on the day we have some sort of brain fart and the system screwed up, but we have to somehow go in and fix this after the fact. I'm not quite sure how we do that. So still a work in progress to a certain degree. A little disappointing, but nonetheless, I got to roll with the punches. So, and while this problem is persisting, I'm a little bit concerned about using the breadth information to make conclusive decisions about what's going on in the market right now. So I don't know whether I really want to make a comment about this right now off of this. We'll circle around. I suppose the good thing is that this was primarily a stock market issue, so it didn't really affect the crypto screening. Don't really like to talk about this too much, and don't really even like to disseminate this for public shows, but on Mondays, I don't mind. And maybe Mondays, we just show you this as a bit of a teaser, just sort of give you an overview of what we see in the market. clearly the breadth of the market rolled over there quite violently middle of last week. But the problem, of course, is that this is that Larry Fink guy here coming in and fucking around with the market. And I think I've told you before, it would not surprise me one bit. I mean, this is money, folks. And, oh, our fund is all about hope. Fuck you. You fucking asshole. Even just saying that publicly is such a slap in the face to the public. This has nothing to do with hope, and this has everything to do with greed. Our fund is about greed. Our fund is about making as much money as possible and making shareholders rich. I mean, fuck you. Don't give me this hope bullshit. What a joke. Anyway, so having said that, of course, like we said, market was just working its way lower. And if anything, this is a really, really good lesson in technical analysis works best in the absence of new fundamental drivers. So Mr. Big Dick comes along and says, I want an ETF and I'm going to apply for an ETF. This is the time we're going to do this. And since I own the fucking capital markets, yeah, that little bald guy, actually, they're all bald, but anyway, the Gensler guy, he's going to do what I say. Anyway, huge rally right out of nowhere, completely blew out all technical patterns and stuff that were previously working. That's the definition of a guy who's got very deep pockets and he can manipulate markets. And then following that event, fascinating, the rejection, and then we start going into the FUs. Man, I don't actually even think that this trading range here has even been resolved yet. We're still just basically going sideways with, in my funny little Oprah Winfrey reference, right? I think that's what's going on here is Larry Fink and his buddies are basically handing out free FUs to anybody who wants one. You want an FU? Fine, FU. You're a bull? Fine, fuck you. You're a bear? Fuck you. Everybody gets fuck yous. That's exactly what I think is going on here, folks. And we're nowhere near value, like $30,000. There's no way in hell you're going to tell me that the cost of production to get a mining rig and up and running and join these mining pools and all that kind of stuff. The average cost for a Bitcoin off all of the people who are actually in the business of mining Bitcoins is 30,000 a coin. Forget it. You're never going to convince me of that. There's no way in hell that's the case. So what this is unfortunately, is we're kind of in no man's land. And probably like some poor Russian soldier that's like stranded in the middle of no man's land. You take a step to the left, fuck you, landmine blows up. Take a step to the right, fuck you, landmine blows up. Landmine blows up, landmine blows up, landmine blows up, landmine blows up, right? And you're just stuck in no man's land here, and you're trying to force a trade at a horrible location with this guy running around. My hunch is Fink has probably got a war chest of like maybe 5,000-10,000 Bitcoins. And, they just simply wanted to run the stops here. And all it took, I've sort of explained this to you before, all it takes is, they look at the order book and they go, gee whiz, I can clean out all the orders with 5 Bitcoins or something. And instantly they just clean it out. And of course, all the kids FOMO in on the long side. This is a new bull market. Then stops start getting tripped up on a break of this high. And Mr. Fink, he bought his 5 coins here. Maybe he sells his 5 coins here. Then we go sideways, sideways, sideways. He can start accumulate again. He looks on the order book. He says, geez, for 1 or 2 Bitcoins, I can clean out these highs. And of course, that'll get all the kids FOMOing again. So, he's accumulating. Then he just trips up the high with like a market buy of like 5 Bitcoins, which maybe, through the accumulation window here, maybe his average cost is like somewhere. Let's see if I can do this. Accumulating is bought, just simply buys, very, very small quantities, 0.01 BTC. does like 10,000 little individual buys. It all adds up to like 5 Bitcoins. Maybe his average for those 5 Bitcoins is somewhere in here. Looks at the order book and says, all right, for another 5 Bitcoins, I can just literally go and hit the offer, clean the market out. So he has another 5 Bitcoin buy. So that means his average cost is like maybe somewhere in there, the average of these two levels. And then, he's cleaned out the order book, get all the kids all FOMO, uber bullish, maybe clean out the order book anytime any selling comes in, right? And then huge rally up here. And of course, he sells maybe 10 Bitcoins here. He still has his original war chest. Nothing has changed here, but now he's able to launch the market up a good 10% higher here. And he can just keep doing this over and over and over again. What's the name of his little algorithm computer program? And you might find that that's exactly what he did here. Market ran up, he sold, the market pulled back, he starts accumulating. And then maybe he sort of said, well, you know what, let's really fuck these kids. Let's flip the algo to the bear side. So we're going to step in, market buy here, clean out the order book, market goes zooming up, all the kids come in and market buy. But this time, maybe because the market was in divergence here, he actually is selling and doing the exact opposite. Market worked its way back down. Does he know that the SEC is probably going to reject his ETF? Probably. On that event, of course, he's in there now. We're going and buy, and we'll start the algo going the other direction. And the irony of it all is if you actually do this correctly, you have to have a chunk of money to work with. And what probably ends up happening is he has a chunk of money here, and he's got a chunk of Bitcoins here, and he can just simply push the market around, and his actual portfolio doesn't really change in value. It's just a question of, is he long cash and short Bitcoin, or is he long Bitcoin and short cash? And at any given point in time, he's just simply balancing out. And if he's got a war chest of, say, $10 million or something to work with, his pockets are way bigger than any sort of individual Bitcoiner out there in the market. And he can push price around anywhere he wants. And like I said earlier, I mean, this has got fuck yous written all over it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are some more fuck yous in our not too distant future. So anyway, I don't know whether that was of any value to any of you guys or not, but that's what I'm seeing going on here. It is interesting that we actually started, like we had bear divs over here, which kind of, our rule at TRI, if you're relatively new to the site, and actually let's just see whether you guys know the rule. And I get the impression it's less TRI and it's more Brian Beamish, because I don't think Julian gives a fuck about any of this stuff. But, if we see a confirmed bearish divergence in the indicators of our choice, what should we do at this point on the price chart? Who can help me here? If we see a confirmed bearish divergence in our indicators and price is pressing higher, what should we do? All right, good. Meg, excellent. Eddie, oh, you guys, excellent. Adam, you guys are awesome. And you tell me, would it have been a good idea just to cool your jets through all of this shit? I think so. Makes sense to me. Oh, Josh. So notice by the time we get over to here, oh, hello. Now we're starting to get bullish divergence. You can see it right there. In fact, actually, maybe, I think we even have this indicator. Let's see if this, oh, there you go. Look at all the bullish divergences we have here now on this move here. So, on this event down in here, what should we be doing? If you are a bear, especially now with this here, I mean, gee whiz, that's a hell of a lot of bullish divergences. If you're a bear through this, what should you be doing? Cool your jets. Temper your enthusiasm. Oh, nicely said. That's you can tell Josh is married to a school teacher. That's the appropriate grammatically correct. Cool your jets. That doesn't really work too well in a court of law, right? Temper thine enthusiasm. All right, that sounds more like banker talk. So, use this concept to help you sort of frame your behavior. When you see the bear divs, cool your freaking jets, right? And then when you see the bull divs, well, you better, if you're a bear, you better cool your jets. So given all of this bullish divergence down in here, and who can help me? How does this expression go? Wicks and tails like to be what? I think this is what they say at the bar. Oh, that's a terrible joke. Them tails, they like to be what? I don't know. So does it not make sense with all of this bullish divergence down in here and this huge wick? Now, Cole, that's not nice. So what do you think the odds are that maybe we're going to pop up top here? All of this damn bullish divergence. And of course, we got Larry fucking everybody over right, left, and center. And, the cool part about this is we could probably even do things like fog and bombs. This is an interesting battle, though, eh? So it went down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up. Talk about a building of energy in here, eh? And I was even thinking yesterday, and I even put tweets out to this. In fact, actually, if we drill down to the lower time frame, I think you can see this. Last night, and actually here, before we leave that, let's just finish that thought. Last night, we had basically one high, then this low, then another high, and we started to slip through these lows. And of course, the bot simply says that if I get 3 lower highs, then we got something to work with. So if anything, this is exactly why I want to wait for those 3 lower highs. So I think you can make the argument here that if we roll over and we start to crank down here, then there could be some trouble ahead. And I think actually what this should look like is it looks like this. So I was curious as to how this was going to play out. So this was the sort of tweet that I put out last night that, things are looking a little dangerous here. And you can see that I even drew on here. I said that if we get an M that comes in here, that'll be 3 lower highs and look out. And what ended up happening through the overnight session. And this, I think, is a really good example of patience and discipline and just waiting for the market to actually set this up. Those people that were impatient and hit this double top here, they're underwater right now. And of course, the bullish divergences here in our indicators, if anything, that bull div is kind of like, you probably need to wait a bit. Now, what I probably could see happen here, and you might even find that might even be setting up bear divs, we'll see. I do like the idea off of that 4-hour time frame chart that let's just, if you're a bear, let's just let this play itself out, right? I don't know where this goes from here. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially considering it's Monday. I wouldn't be surprised if they run these highs. And you might even find that they take the market up through this high, right? And then that starts to create bearish divergence, and we start getting these prints up here on that kind of event. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Now, having said that, we might just inside bar here and then start working our way back down. And I do like that there's the bot entry level. Basic, isn't that fascinating? Look at that, $30,000 right on the nose. Is that an accident? I don't know. But notice, right? One high, two highs. Did we actually go through this high? Maybe we did. Was that say 34.45? 34.43. All right, so that's a little bit higher. And then what's this? 34.39. Oh, okay, so it is lower. So one high, two highs. Now, I like if we roll over here. If anything, because this has got a bit of wiggle room in here, I actually don't mind the idea that maybe we even rally up, take out those highs, and that's what I would be watching for to start to see the divs print. Might be interesting even to see whether a div is printing there yet or not. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that, shaking money flow. Already starting to potentially div out here. So I would just simply say at this point right here, let's actually, I'm from Missouri. The easiest trade here is if we go up, down, up, fail. So you can see we went up, down. If we go up against these highs and then fail and then M out, then I think this counter trend rally is probably done. Now, what's interesting about this too, though, is we could say, well, how about that trend line trader stuff that you're always talking to us about? There is the uptrend line. So if anything, I'd almost like to see this thing go up, down, up, and then hit that trend line. And then if we can get some sort of bearish structure on the other side of this trend line, then I think your short signal fires on something like that, which would be the confirmation of that bot level. So in the short term, I think pretty significant resistance, but considering the BlackRock Capital talk and the FU talk and the fact that we had a bull div start to set up here, actually a whole bunch of them on the lower time frame chart or the 4-hour chart, probably best to let that div play itself out. You can see there is the end result of that div action. And you might even argue, well, gee whiz, Brian, isn't that a W? And if that's the case, then maybe we even start thinking like Foggenbaums to the upside. And I kind of like this, right? Because yeah, if we do get up into here, that will clean out all of these stops, a whole bunch of liquidity, and our Oprah Winfrey kind of meme kind of talk. And considering that the real fundamental driving news isn't until Wednesday, over the next day or two, could we have some effery, probably even against this trend line from the other side, right? Maybe this creates the divs. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Like that, like that. So revisit of the this trend line up here, then maybe your fail. Where's Wednesday? Wednesday's even way over here. Maybe we do something like that. Who knows? But I wouldn't mind seeing bear divs start to form on these momentum indicators to actually tell us that, yep, we're getting ready to roll over. So keep your eyes peeled. Wouldn't even surprise me if they go and take these out, stop runs. And then if you are interested in the bot, then you're going to have to move this up appropriately as we go. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, right now, very simply put, if there's like some sort of M that comes in here, I really wouldn't have a problem if you're like, well, Brian, I kind of like the idea of trading this bot. I do like the idea of the market moving down here. I want to hunt. And if I do take an M in here, then my risk window is actually fairly small. And if we blow out through these, then I'll just cover and I'll wait for any kind of new top to come in to re-enter the short. Also, too, I noticed, gaps like to be filled about 90 some odd % of the time. And I noticed there's a big old hole on the charts right there. So that also is another reason to think that maybe we got to work our way a little bit higher here too. So there's 2.618. That would be a stop of run of all these guys. This probably also is like a mountain man level. So if we did like reload zone, there's 2.618 off of this original bottom, although that does look like that's been broken. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's interesting how that's setting up very similar levels up here. And I think the chaos that comes in on all of this is all the stop loss levels getting hit, right? So if guys are short and they've got their stops above here, that means that they will be buy orders. And I wouldn't be surprised if they push this thing up into here, right? All the buy orders that cover all these shorts create that confusion. The guys that bought here, they end up, selling into those stop loss orders being tripped up. The gap is probably the upside objective of all that chaos and confusion in the market. And then we roll over. Point here is there's just nothing for a guy like me right now at this point right here. There's nothing for me to do. I've got short-term bullish indications, which suggest that we're moving higher within the context of a big fuck you market state. And ideally this, I think, is actually the best trade location way up top here. And if I was, like a dream sort of scenario to short, I like the idea of us working our way up to 31,100 and change. And that probably aligns with wicks and tails like to be eaten. So what did I say? 31,000 and change. So that would be up into this area, and maybe even these candle body highs are that level. All right. So if we did the reload zone off of this particular range, candle body highs for trade location line up nicely with that 88.6 level up there. So in a weird sort of way, and actually also too, if we have any harmonicans in attendance, this probably is like a bat. So there to there to there, all the way up to there, which sets up a harmonic. So that becomes an interesting shorting trade location. I like that. Candle body highs, 88.6. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Gap needs to be filled. Run all the stops. And then you look for your divergences. Maybe we work our way up into something like that. And the divergence thing all starts going crazy on that kind of move up there. And also too, notice it's well above value. So we probably, run up here, then come back, test value high, and then do we do 80% plays and all that kind of talk? I don't know. So anyway, maybe I'll just leave that image on the screen because I think on balance, with all these bull divs here, I don't think shorts makes a lot of sense considering what we saw out of the US dollar earlier, how that is technically a risk on bet. And then we're seeing things like the gold market firming up, stock markets firming up, Russell 2000 just rocking it here. The Dow rocking it. Interesting how the NASDAQ actually is trying to firm up here. Maybe it goes and W's out here. I don't know. While those bull divs are in place and until we start getting the new bear divs, signals and stuff, I think you probably just ought to cool your jets if you're thinking about a top. Wow, that was a mouthful. I don't know whether I said anything of value there or not. Sure hope so. Okay, breadth itself doesn't really look like anything to write home about. And if anything, so kind of being your teaser here, but it's already after 11 o'clock. I've kind of wasted this. Sure, I hope you guys got some value out of all this. Algo signals, latest one was a sell from here. Interesting how this pattern and this sort of prognostication, we're just thinking about the market working back up here. Could we have this evening the algo actually spits out a buy signal here? I doubt it. The algo itself looks really ugly here. I can't see how that's going to cross back up bullish. That's done a lot of technical damage here. And also the broader market just does not look very happy here at all right now. So I doubt we're going to get any kind of bullish signal here out of crypto just yet in the short term. So if anything, this is just liquidity hunts against the top end of the range, and on any sort of new sell patterns. Actually, considering the way the breadth looks, I do like joining that sell setup. If I got any sort of technical setups to justify that. Signals themselves, and we'll finish off this. A lot of these signals are very short-term oriented, momentum and stuff like that. But for the purposes of this conversation, I do like just quickly taking a boo at things like the weekly signals here. See if we get any sort of bigger picture messages here. Interesting, weekly trending signals, markets trying to turn. US stocks, Baxter International, actually, I think is a drug company. So that's kind of interesting, considering that would be sort of contrarian play. Fox Corporation, that's interesting. Is that the media corporation? I don't know. General Motors, that's interesting. So we've been rather bullish of things like Toyota Motor Company lately. Tesla's works its way back up top. GM, I think, is kind of like the worst name in the whole bunch, but interesting how it's even being dragged up. And from what I understand, the used car market is collapsing right now. Everybody wants their brand new cars. And of course, the world is now moving towards the electric cars and all that nonsense. So I think GM is also part of that conversation. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but demand for new cars is still very, very strong down in the States. Bearish trending signals. Yeah, interesting. Seagate, that's an old disk drive company, right? Humana, that's a healthcare company. Coca-Cola, isn't that interesting? So Coke is breaking down. And a bond ETF is breaking down. Don't see that every day. Remember Mr. Hendry, right? A little surprised, Mr. Hendry. And we had sort of talked earlier about bonds, so that does make sense that they're starting to trend lower in earnest. Interesting how we have daily bearish key reversal there on the 1 to 3 year US Treasury bond ETF. You don't see that every day, so that's pretty significant. Actually, I'd be really interested to see what that looks like. Let's go over here, maybe SHY. Doing a lot of twos these days, eh? It's interesting. I wonder if that's somebody read the tea leaves. Is that a technical buy or sell signal? Excuse me. All right. So what the hell is a Q? I don't see any Q reversals here. Daily chart. Short, always a adventure. 613, that's pretty old. Let's see, where is the 13th? That's way over here. All right. Well, actually, if you were using the key reversal system to help you time purchases, was that a legit signal? Looks like it. I don't know how much money there's to be made on that kind of trade, but it looks like it was accurate. It went from the signal fires 81.17. It's still trending lower. Did it with violent gaps. When it was gapping lower here, you'd be like, fucking A, man, this system is awesome. Look at me, I'm so smart. So, interesting. So key or daily key reversal signal, I think it looks accurate. We banged down against key support here, and that's why we're bouncing here. Horizontal support and resistance. So I might argue that if that inflation number comes in relatively benign, you might see this thing jackknife higher. So probably the more important thing here is to acknowledge that this signal came in like like half a month ago. So my apologies there. Didn't actually pay attention to the date of the signal. Might be interesting to look at, well, you know, we haven't got that much time. We're already way over time anyway. So I'm a big fan, of course, about the weekly key reversals. I had a couple that came in near the end of the month. So it might be interesting just to take a quick boo at these things. EXR. These are weekly signals now. Extra space, I guess that's that one. Whoop, where'd it go? That was weird. There it is. There's your bullish reversal. I don't, weekly, right? Yeah, there we go. All right. So there is the weekly. So it's not only a weekly reversal, but it's also a daily reversal. And when you get the daily and the weekly, it's not a key reversal, but it's definitely a bullish engulfing bar. The weekly key reversal finished the week here, opened up the following week. We had a bit of a pullback, and now it looks like it's trying to press back higher. So, I mean, I can't wait until we can actually have the algo just literally go and buy a call option on that event last week and just let this play out. It's not, you know, there's no fireworks here, but that's the irony of all of this, guys and girls and houseplants and Kawasaki's. When Brian is actually interested in something, do you think anybody in the public that would look at that chart would be like, holy Jesus, look at that. Oh my God, that's incredible. I mean, do you think anybody in the public would even have the slightest bit of interest in that? That's the oddity about me. You know, this is the same conversation. We could have had this conversation months ago. And I remember, and actually even Josh said, holy crap, that's a master class on using key reversals. But that's basically exactly the same image. It's exactly the same image. All right, I think we should even put out. This is, whoops. This is Daniel Cook on a bike, on a plane, on a boat, on a train. This is the exact same message. Now, after the fact, right, all the, you know, the noobs and stuff, and let's say you bought your at the money call option, and that's $100, and now the damn thing worked its way up to 130. That's 30% return. Do you think Wall Street fund managers and hedge fund managers and all that shit, do you think they would be happy with a 30% return? I think so. So, you know, it's exactly the same message. Whoever was asking, I doubt they're watching this video today, but the person who was asking me to sort of walk through what does a key reversal look like, right? It's identical, no difference at all. There's the end result. So when this happens, that Beamish guy, he gets all apeshit crazy, but what he's seeing is he's seeing the potential for this kind of move. And it's, you know, this is the whole sort of, you know, opportunity is now here, opportunity is nowhere, right? The public looks like this and they go, I don't see anything. I don't know why you're so excited, Brian. If anything, I see a piece of shit stock that just seems to be working its way down. Why would I get interested in this? This thing looks like shit. And yet I look at that and go, holy son of a bitch. Right. So if anything, what I want to do is let's go back. And we can get rid of this. And let's go, maybe we'll go like, I don't know, are you guys enjoying this convo I'm having with you guys today? I hope you are. And then, what was that? EXR? Oh, it didn't work. Oh yeah, it did. There we go. Awesome. Man, trading view is so damn slow. Oh man, I hope somebody can use this information to make some money in this world. And when you do make the money, for God's sakes, go and just be a good person. Don't go on Saturday Night Live and fucking talk about what a great person you are without warning people that they're walking into traps. Hey, this is all about hope. I hope you're not conning me. What do you think? Is that a half decent sales pitch? Playing the guitar with Marie. Playing the guitar with him. Playing the guitar with Marie. Let's all dance and sing. Well, actually, it'd be interesting if you guys even know what the hell I'm muttering on here. Meg, you might know what I'm muttering here. Mind you, your kids are all grown up. So I have a 23-year-old that still watches things like the Wiggles. He loves the Wiggles. Nope, that one's not familiar. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that the Wiggles don't even look like the Wiggles anymore. I'm sure Liam's like, that's not the Wiggles. What are you doing? You're conning me here. You're pulling a Larry Fink on me. What the hell, man? You're pulling me an Allen on me. I saw recently Alan's planning on building a flying car now, and he wants to charge $300,000 each. Isn't that incredible? It just goes to show, number one, the value of money is completely worthless. So we should say something like, is it worth your time to pay attention to key reversals? Actually, that border did not work. What did I do with that? Well, yeah, not bizarre. You can't really do a border on these kind of images, can you? Anyway, how can you tell Liam and I sat and sang songs in the car all afternoon yesterday? I still have them going through my head now. Anyway. And then let's put a fun little logo on this. And maybe we'll use this one. I don't know whether this doesn't really work very well, right? If I go copy, then I go back over here and I go paste. nothing. Oh, there it is. Yay. Oh, I stand corrected. And then let's, for fun, let's go boom, boom, and boom. Talk about a sales pitch, eh? Jesus, this shit should just basically sell itself. That's cool. What do you think? Is that a half decent advertisement? Just that simple. Simple pimple. You'd think we should be able to sell this product, eh? It would seem like this should be a pretty sellable product. Anyway, there you go. From beginning to end, how does Brian do these fun charts up? Something like that. Now the question is, should we go over on Alan and tweet this out? Sign up for this. Where is Josh's? Joshy, where are you, Josh? I know you're around here somewhere.
Hey, Brian, I think you should zoom in a bit into the signal. So is that will be visible?
Yeah. I don't want to be too specific. I just, if anything, what I want to do is sort of just like a follow-up. But where the hell is that damn thing? You think it's too zoomed out? People aren't going to know what the hell this is? No, it's pretty straightforward. Are you talking about this here?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Like that? Is that better? That's zoomed in, eh? Wow.
Cool.
What do you think? Where's Josh? Josh was on the call earlier. I don't know whether he's still here. More importantly, is the car powered by dog money? You guys, you're still talking about that. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, damn, that's so bloody cool. We should, I mean, seriously, folks, we should all be fucking stinking rich using this shit. God damn. So pretty too. God, what a damn good looking advert. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to I don't know where he did it. I think I retweeted it out. I thought I did. Somewhere right around. Oh, this was it here. I'm saying. Oh, there's another. Something like that. Super cool. So, I mean, unfortunately, we're risk takers, right? This is our life. There's no guarantees in any of this. But I sure hope you guys see the value in this. It's just incredible. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, Okay, so we took a look at a key reversal. That was actually like last week though, eh? So not really anything new here. I would imagine probably like key reversal signals, it's going to be tough to generate them ahead of this inflation number. Like at the end of this week, we might see if you have a violent reversal to the upside or downside following that CPI number, you might see a bunch of key reversal. But there's anything new here right now. Of course, doing you a little bit of a free favor. So here today, you can see these. We obviously don't want to make it a habit of showing these on a regular basis. So, as you can see, we have the US, we have the Canadian, we do have European as well. Unfortunately, the Australian data, we just haven't updated it, and it's probably best that maybe we just take it off the site. I don't know. Here's the EU. So we don't really get too many key reversals out of the European stocks. This daily key reversal came in on the 6th on Finco Banca Finero SPA. That might even be a Spanish bank. Interesting how it's actually spat up a couple key reversals here. The weekly signals, interesting. We had a couple. So there you go. Take a look at some of those. That might be an idea for you to chew on. What the hell symbol is this? What does that say? T. Is that for real? That typical Italians, right? They would actually. That can't be for real. Yeah, I'm long tits. I love them tits. There you go. TIT. It is for real. That's hilarious. But of course, Brian, totally politically incorrect. I should be saying, how dare they use such language? Oh my goodness. Anyway. I don't see the signal. I'm not quite sure what it is I'm looking at here. Maybe that was a daily signal. That was a moving average cross. Oh, I beg your pardon. So I just got, of course, I see yeah, I see the TIT and I get off. Yeah, who's gonna think of it? For God's sake, somebody think of the children. Good reference. 718. God, who knows how old that is? That must be from like a year ago or something. So we're not getting anything out of Europe. That's a little bothersome. Couple bearish messages. Well, actually just one there from June. So we're not getting the key reversal data out of the Europeans. When we, eventually when Fjord actually gets all the jobs that we have for him to do done, we should circle around and see if we can clean up this European, because clearly something's not operating correctly here with this European data. Then we'll finish off today with a quick boo at crypto. Crypto tastes great. I don't know I doubt we're going to get any weekly key reversals. It might be interesting to see if anything came in here. Looks like the 12th of June, there were a bunch of signals. Interesting, this ant. So this is actually an interesting commentary on how one name within the space can actually generate signals, whether it be versus Bitcoin or versus one stable coin or versus another stable coin. It's interesting how you're getting a bullish proxy across a whole bunch of sort of a bullish signal on on a whole bunch of different proxies. That was tough to say. So I'd just be curious. Let's see what the hell happened to this ant. Did it actually work? Ant versus crypto. Argon, is that what this thing is? There it is over on Stamp. We were looking at this versus Bitcoin on, I don't even know what exchange these things are on now. One thing I don't like about this is you can't really tell where this signal has actually been generated. BUSD, that's Binance's stablecoin, but it's like dead now, isn't it? And then USDT, that's Tether. Of course, there's all those issues around tethers. I don't know whether you want to take the chance on that. Let's see what we got here. So June 12th, that's that candle there. Typical sort of crypto. That's a weekly chart. Was that a weekly key reversal that we saw there, or was it maybe just daily? Weekly bullish key reversal. USDT 12th of June, ANT USDT. ANT USDT 12th of June, no key reversal. So I'm not quite sure how this works. Suppose never been closer. I'm not quite sure how that all came in. Maybe it was on a different exchange or something. I think Stuart also looks at, well, let's see. Is there any other USDTs? KuCoin, there's Binance. I think that Binance is where we were looking, right? I think he also is Kraken as well, but I don't know whether that's versus Tether. And then I also noticed that I think he also has Trex on there. Looks like the signal was generally correct, but I don't think that the key reversal is accurate. So maybe I'll even just paste that. And we will ask in the development room. Anyway, maybe Stuart can look at that later on and give his comment there. So, I mean, we did get a bunch of bullish votes on this ant, and I think on balance that was correct. I don't know whether we can use BUSD. That might be a little bit suspect, but it'd be interesting to look at that ant versus Bitcoin. Always a good sign when you have a signal denominates. Yes, this is Phoenix. There's Kraken. Let's see what it looks like on Kraken. So there's that 12th again. How on earth the system saw a key reversal here with this tail looking like that? Makes no sense to me. So my hunch is probably the data that that's Kraken. Maybe this looks better. The data that Sjord is getting and using looks different to this data, which I suppose is a bit of a problem. Anyway. So I guess the bottom line here is the key reversal signals on crypto are not accurate. Interesting. We had a signal there in early June, BNT versus, interesting, BNT XBT. Who still uses XBT? Let's see what this looks like. BNT XBT, all. Yeah. Now we'll go BTC. This is Bancor. I think he's probably doing this on Kraken, but we can look at both of these. Let's see what we got here. Well, so okay. Hey, this one is correct. Yay. It's probably not the best trade location, but it is a good testament to how these key reversal signals do work. Short there, this thing's just working its way down. So actually there is a valid key reversal. Yay. So that's good. At least the system did see that. So I'm not quite sure why the system is not seeing these bullish signals correctly. Over here, this here. I'm not sure why that's happening. Actually, it might be interesting just for fun because this was back in May. Let's see whether, and this is versus BNB, so this might be a bit suspect too, but yeah, what the hell? Let's take a look. XMR BNB. And is BNB actually still a thing, or have they basically gotten rid of it? 5th of May. I guess that's that signal date there, eh? That's the 1st of May. This is a weekly price chart. And 1st of May, BNB XMR weekly bullish key reversal. It's close, but it's not exactly. Well, let's see. What's the low here? 45.98. So did this open up lower than 45.98? Survey says 45.97. Woohoo! That's good. Nice. So that did work. Yay! Way to go, Fjord. You're awesome. So actually, we can even say, like right there. And is this BNB thing still working? Is this still tradable asset? And I like this because this is a sexy trade location. The top of the reload zone. Well, nice little double bottom there too. Pretty. And had you taken that signal, oh my goodness, you'd be coming to Vancouver and kissing me in person. But you all want to do that anyway, though, right? Something like that. Got to update the browser, right? Where the hell did it go? No, that's not this. That's this one. Replies? Is that what I did? Yeah, there it is. We should call this TRI Algo Review Mondays. How about crypto? Any of you see any value in getting this signal handed to you in your email inbox first thing Monday mornings? There we go. Damn. Yeah, Brian being silly. That's just sick, eh? Fuck. What a signal. Holy moly. So, actually, that's probably a perfect note to end this crypto review, algo review, dashboard review session here with you. Stay tuned, of course. And I wouldn't mind if we could actually just make it a habit on Mondays to just review how some of the signals did over time, and even get your feedback. Oh yeah, Brian, I took that key reversal signal on the NASDAQ there back in the spring, or I took this Monero versus BNB Signal, and oh my God, look at all the money I made. You are so fucking awesome. So, all right, everybody, why don't we leave it at that? And I'm gonna say, ooh, this one was perfect. Go, Merry Fishmas. So we'll leave it at that for today. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no wooden nickels. You know how all this goes. We'll have actually Sjord on the call tomorrow. And if anything, what I wouldn't mind is after you've watched all this, and if you've had any sort of questions come to mind while watching this presentation about the dashboard, right? You'll have Mr. Dashboard on the call tomorrow. And the feedback that you give him is way more valuable than the feedback that I give. So let us know, let him know, let Chris know. How can we use the time we have Sjord on the call most effectively? Do you have specific questions that he and I together can help address your concerns? All right. That's it for Brian. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. PMA for the win. Bye.